Is that good?
Well, good evening to everybody out in Facebook, YouTube. Welcome to our monthly edition of the Locker Room. And this particular month, it's the ladies taking over the Locker Room. Normally, you know, the fellas, we try to keep the space to ourselves, but sometimes we have to allow the ladies in. So we're going to let the ladies take over this month for the month of April. And we're celebrating women in general, but we have three guests on tonight that we want to highlight, and we want to show them some love. And so what I need for everybody who's watching, whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube, what I need you to do is I need you to hit that share button at the bottom, and I need you to go ahead and share this broadcast so that your friends and followers can jump on and watch with you, because we're in for a great night of dialogue and conversation. I am super excited to have all of these ladies on tonight. And we're going to get right in and introduce our guest to you now. First, I want to introduce, she's all the way from Atlanta, Georgia area by way of McDonough, I believe. And she is my cousin. She's my sister. She's been a friend. I've been knowing her since grade school. And I'm telling you, she is doing some amazing things down there in the Atlanta area. She's working in the financial industry, so she is a financial literacy person. I mean, she knows her stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, she's probably the best in the state of Georgia. She is definitely somebody that, you know, you want to connect to, who can really help you get your finance in order. Because I tell you, for our people, that's something that we don't traditionally do well, is we don't know how to really prepare ourselves and get ourselves ready financially. But above all than that, she's just a class A person, great person, one of the smartest people I know. And I'm just glad that she agreed to be on the Locker Room with us tonight. So I want to introduce to you my family, Cece Butler. Cece, how you doing?
Good. Oh my goodness. Can I just keep every day with all that?
Yes, indeed. And so next we have my girl at the bottom. We call her T, but she is from Connecticut. Tiana is a singer. She has her own line of cosmetics. She's a coach, and about 1,000 other things she do. But I tell you, she's one of the nicest people, one of the realest people you ever wanted to meet. And I am so blessed, and we are blessed that she is a part of our life. She's a part of our extended family, and she is really doing some big things in Connecticut, and you know, doing big things in music. I mean, she's traveled with the who's who in the gospel music industry. It's too many to name right now, but she is out here really doing it up. And so I'm glad that she's also on the Locker Room with us tonight. So I'm just introducing to you my girl, my sister, Tiana Sherelle. What's up, T?
Hi. I don't know who that person is you were talking about. She sounds amazing. I really want to meet her.
All right, and then we have at the bottom, this lady is she's a powerful woman. She is a powerful woman in the ministry, but she's also a powerful woman in the church, and she's a powerful woman out in the secular. She is really doing some big things. She is an author that we'll get more into that later on as we go, but she is an author. She is just a wonderful person, very nice, so down to earth. so approachable, and women like her just don't come around too often. You don't meet women like this often. And so I'm glad that she said yes, because I didn't know if she was going to say yes, but I said, hey, she was laid on my heart. So I jumped out there and she said yes. So I'm so glad that she's a part of this. And so I just want to introduce to everybody, if you didn't know her, you will know her after tonight, Miss Ayana Lene. How you doing?
Hi. Hello, everybody, and thank you, Minister Blair and Tanette. Thank you so much for having me on to be to invite me into the locker room.
Yeah. All right. And so last but not least, this is the queen.
Okay.
She is the queen. She is my wife. She is my life partner. I have been with her for 22 years. I've been married to her for 20. And we'll be celebrating actually 20 years next week, Wednesday. We will be also renewing our vows. Out in the beach, on the beach in Cancun. And she is, if I could just sum it up, she's everything. I could not do anything that I have done or will do in life without her. Because my life was not purposed to be lived without her. So I don't know life without her. I don't know what life looks like without her, because she's everything. So tonight, I'm super, super glad that she's here tonight. She is tonight's host. I'm the co-host. And so at this point, I am going to turn this entire session over to her, and she is going to make this thing run. So this is my wife, my heart, my love, Tonette Troublefield. T, you got it.
Thank you. Thank you. Y'all, listen, I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so glad to have these beautiful women standing with me on this platform. I thank my husband for allowing us to enter to the, how it's normally the men's locker room. We've come to invade. So I'm just so excited about us being here tonight. We're gonna rock this out. We're gonna just, y'all go ahead, y'all get y'all snacks and drinks or whatever y'all gonna get, so we can just sit, we're gonna just chat, and we're gonna talk about just a little bit of our lives and the stories that these wonderful women have, and that they're gonna share with us. So without further ado, I'm gonna start with our, as we say, I'm just gonna start with my cousin, which is my sister, Cece Butler. I'm not gonna say like I just met her. I known her all her life. I've known her all her life, but she is absolutely beautiful, and I'm so very proud and love her and what she's doing. So I'm going to introduce tonight to you my sister Cece Butler, also my sister Tiana, as my husband said, and my new sister Ayana. Amen. I'm so grateful for each of you being here with me. Listen, y'all. We're taking over. So we're gonna just talking. Basically, my husband's vision. What he was sharing with me earlier was, really putting the women being out here, us being out here, and women. It's been a change in the trajectory of how it's been men always in leadership, and you've seen men always at the top. And this is not a feminist movement. This is not bashing men, but during the pandemic, we saw how so many people and their gifts that may have been sitting and lying dormant, but during that pandemic, how it seemed like it was such a rise and a movement for women and women entrepreneurs, women in business, women just finding finding and taking their gifts and the things that they had sitting. I think because we had so much time to sit and really think, we had to start thinking, what is more to this? We're sitting in climates that everything has stopped, but our brain was actually constantly going. And I'm speaking for myself, and I'm sure that you all may be able to relate to what I'm saying, but our brains was going with things that we could potentially do just to keep ourselves going. We read, we was watching TV, but I believe that our hearts start, the things that's on our hearts and things that were in our minds that, we've been called to do, had really called us out to actually answer and respond. So with that being said, this has been a movement for women. We just came out of the Women's History Month. Women has really paved the way. And in a lot of ways, they have never been appreciated or even a response to say, thank you for paving that way. We hear it in, from the male perspective, but actually the women is the one to kind of keep the ball rolling. So with that being said, my questions is, like I said, I'm gonna start with Cece here at the top. I want you to just introduce yourself and just share a little bit of what you do and who you are.
Okay, so my journey did not necessarily start with the pandemic.
Okay.
I've been in finance for years. It's pretty much all I've ever done. And although it's not necessarily where I thought that I would be, it's clear that that's kind of the natural gift that God placed into me. And I say a lot of times that it came from growing up where primarily my mother was a single parent. And so watching her budget, her being open and transparent enough to have conversations with me on the things that we could and could not do because of finances. And so I think it just kind of spoke to me. I wound up going to school in Buffalo, New York, and I went to Lafayette, and I went to the Academy of Finance at Lafayette with the plans to go into accounting. But I have a little too much personality to just sit and work with numbers. So sitting there with nobody to talk to didn't work for me, because like literally if my phone would talk to me, I would talk back to it. So clearly that didn't work. So I took that knowledge and I moved down to Atlanta, and Metro Atlanta, but at that time I moved to Atlanta, and it just opened up a door for me in the banking industry. And I don't know, even though for me it was kind of a stepping stone or just something to do in the meantime until I was able to step out on faith and act in the natural gifts that I thought were the path I should have been on. Instead, what has happened is I've stuck with it. It turned into a career, and it's now turned into a bit of a passion for me. So in 2019, I took a step back because I needed to kind of get my head on straight. There were so many changes that had happened in my life. And I said, I'm going to get out of finance. I'm tired of it. It's very difficult when you're trying to teach people to look at their money a different way, because that's the hardest thing for people to do. And I would say probably even more so in our community, not 100%, of course, because everybody has struggles. But for the most part, nowadays, people don't really want to plan their money. They just live. And so when you're trying to tell people to do it differently, or you're trying to teach people how to leverage debt in a way that's going to be impactful versus work against them, when you're talking to people about retirement, putting money away, those are very taxing conversations when the people on the other side don't necessarily want to receive that. They start to look at you like you're the enemy.
Right.
Right. No, I just want to make sure you have something down the line.
Right.
Or when that rainy day is coming, right?
Gotcha.
So with the pandemic, that made me look at things a lot differently. And I started to take on clientele separately to really focus on the different tools that you could use to stretch your money out for retirement, or maybe you had money that was put to the side for retirement and you needed to use it in that season to float you and your family, because the pandemic threw most people's finances into like a tailspin. And so, just kind of being that resource to people. Some came on as clients in my business venture, and some were friends and family. It was just all different walks where we had good open dialogue on the different options that we have, because there are so many options and there's not necessarily a wrong way. The only thing that's wrong is when you're not putting something away. If we're going to pay everybody else, we should absolutely pay ourselves. We're giving our tithes. I don't like to say paying. We're giving our tithes. We're, paying for whatever it is we're paying for, whether it's a fancy car or it's a fancy pocketbook or it's jewelry or hats, whatever it is. So those things are only a temporary feel good.
Mhm.
What's going to happen when your body is ready to rest, and prayerfully not because you're broken down, but just because you're like, all right, it's retirement time.
Right.
But you can't retire because you got all the hats and the
Mhm.
cars and the
Mhm.
jewelry. That's doing nothing for you, because guess what? You ain't feeling good no more, because at that point it's old.
Yeah. Wow.
So the pandemic just allowed me to connect with people with less resistance, because it opened people's mindset up to just how serious this thing is, because people were losing jobs or just didn't feel comfortable going outside of the house because they were scared of catching Rona, you know, whatever it was. So it opened that dialogue up and, you know, just kind of changed things. So I did find myself having to go back into the workforce, working for myself. Commission-based was not something that worked for me. So it gave me peace of mind for my daughter and I to be able to stay home while it was, you know, the beginning and new and we didn't know what was going on. But just as I had to tell clients that those tough decisions and those tough things, I had to tell myself, okay, Cece, so we're not going to deplete the savings. You know, you've used some of it, you've had to touch some of it. Now, because the world shifted, it's time to go back into the workforce. And so there's nothing wrong with that if that's what has to happen and that's what you have to do to take care of things. So it's just trying to be responsible, making those tough choices, making those decisions where it's responsibility over pride. And I'm back out in the workforce, still working in my gift of finance. I'm just doing it under a corporation to make sure that my household is still taken care of and I can still put away for retirement and stay on track for that.
Yeah. That's so vitally important. You know, just talking about we have to really learn and come out of the cultures of being financially ignorant and take on the learning the different culture of how to gain finances and monitor it and manage it and steward it the correct way. Thank you for sharing that with us, C. Tiana, the same question. Introduce yourself. Tell us something. Give us something, girl. Give us something.
I'm Tiana. So I do a lot of things. Like Blair said, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I sing professionally. I started singing professionally in 2008. I've sang with some of your favorite gospel artists. I won't even bore you to go down the list. I've been fortunate enough to have passport stamps, you know, doing what I love, you know, getting to travel, which is something that I love, but getting to travel and get paid to sing while I'm traveling is something absolutely amazing. I, like Cece, began my prior to the pandemic. So I started the Sherelle shop. This in June will be 9 years. So the Sherelle shop is a cosmetics brand that I own. It's kind of an extension of the music ministry, and kind of it gave me an opportunity to interact with women that may never come to an event that I'm singing at because I'm a gospel artist. They may never come to an event that I'm speaking at or, you know, that I'm preaching at because I'm a preacher as well. So it gave me the opportunity to be able to interact with women on a different level. I'm a Black owned business owner. Let me be extremely clear. Let me park right here for 1 second. I am a Black woman. Okay. I might not look like it, but I'm a Black woman that owns a business, but my business does not just cater towards women of color. My business caters towards women of all ethnicities because it's not about cosmetics. It's not about makeup. It's about, you know, helping women to feel confident in the skin that they're in. And so the Sherelle shop gives me an opportunity to be able to interact with women on a different level and in a different capacity. So to speak. So I'm also a life coach. I just completed my certification, but I've been working as a life coach for years and didn't even realize that that's, you know, what I was doing. But I'm everybody's coach. I'm everybody's auntie. I'm everybody's cheerleader. I'm always pushing everyone. I don't need to know you to want to see you win. So I'm always pushing everyone else. And at the start of the pandemic, I said, you know what? I need to invest some time into myself. There's some things that I want to do do, and I'm going to have to start saying no to everyone else. So one of the things that I was doing is I was working on my album. I've sang backgrounds for everybody else. I've written songs for other people. It was time for me to invest that same energy into myself. I also decided I wanted to pursue a career in acting. So I decided I was going to audition for, it was a play at the time at the start of the pandemic, and it ended up turning into a movie. So I filmed my first movie during a pandemic.
Wow.
So, you know, the pandemic kind of created an opportunity to slow everybody down, because for so many years, so many of us have been sitting on ideas for businesses, books, whatever. We've been sitting on them, and between work, church, kids, you know, if you have, my kids are grown, but all of the activities and all of the things that we have going on, we put so much energy into those things, but avoid the things that we should be doing. And so, you know, how you fared during the pandemic depended on your perception and how you perceived it. And so I decided that I was going to be productive during the pandemic. So it didn't stop people from shopping. We couldn't go anywhere, but I had my best sales during the course, like the first few months of the pandemic. I don't know where these ladies were going that they needed $500 worth of lipstick, but they were buying $500 worth of lipstick to sit at home and on Facebook Live, wherever they were going. So, you know, I had to take some time to invest in myself. I completed my book that I have been sitting on for a number of years. So, I do a lot of things, and I'm not going to bore you guys into, you know, to talking about all of the things that I do, but I do a lot of stuff. So, you know, follow me on social media. You'll see some of the things.
Listen, that is so inspiring. And I wasn't one of those people that was buying $500 worth of lipstick. I don't know what it was that I wanted some lipstick while we sitting at home going nowhere, and I wasn't live. So, you know, let them ask them where were they going, because I would have came too. Ayana, same question for you.
Like everybody else, you know, my journey began before COVID. I liken my life to the butterfly. So a lot of things that I do is about butterflies. It's about transition, because, you know, I was one of those people who had to learn things the hard way. You know, I had to put my hand on the stove and get burnt to be like, oh, that's hot. You know, I just, that was just my nature. So a lot of things that I did in my life, it just, you know, it really, it could have caused a lot of damage to myself and to other people and things like that. But I realize now that everything was necessary. You know, everything that I went through was a stepping stone and a building block upon, you know, where I am today. So I'm grateful that I was able to learn those lessons. So, I mean, like the spiritual part of me, you know, I'm a Christian and a minister or elder. So I love assisting people and encouraging them with transformation. You know, oftentimes I run, you know, online prayer groups and meetings and things like that, you know, because I really want people to understand the transformation power of God. You know, I came from being a teen runaway, always in trouble, barely passing high school because I didn't care about school. I just didn't. I'd rather be out running the streets and stuff like that. So I went from that to, you know, God really dealing with me, helping me, saving me, until now I have my master's degree and I'm assistant director of nursing, you know, things like that. So that kind of, you know, that's one of the things that is near and dear to my heart, is that people who are hurting. I was hurting because I went through a lot of things with my father, who was a drug addict and stuff like that. So I was hurting. And, you know, one of my ways of acting out was just doing wild stuff. And I really didn't have other people there to explain to me what was happening and what was going on. And I remember one time, like, reading the Bible, and it just talked about, you know, when Pharaoh looked at the children of Israel and he's seen their potential, you know, he looked at them, said that they could be a great nation. And because of that, he made them slaves. And I think that that's the issue with a lot of people. We don't know who we are. You know, we don't know what God has deposited on the inside of us, but the enemy does.
Right.
I'm sorry. But because the enemy knows who we are or who we have the potential to do, he'll put a different identity on us. He'll put something else on us to change or to try to change the course of what God has called us to be. So, thankfully God has, done a work in and still continue to work in me. But that's one of my passions, is transformation, is to help people. And so, once I began to, really walk with the Lord, he began to reveal something else in me. I've always been a reader. I love to read. I always wanted to write. And the Lord told me, not only you're going to read, not only you're going to write, but you're going to publish books. You're going to help other people get their books out. And so since 2012, I've been publishing books. I've published, I guess, over 35 books, and many of them have been bestsellers on Amazon in their category, and just really trying to help birth that out in people. So that's who I am.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. So while each of you were talking, it seemed, I feel like I went back to my 21-year-old self. Like, if I would have learned some of these tools that you're giving and this wisdom that you're sharing at 21 years old, I'm like, my life would have been so much different. And so with that being said, give me something and share with our audience some tools, some gems that could help them with the stories that you've had, with your life stories, your life journeys, because it's you indicated this didn't happen overnight. And even though, I did mention in the beginning, the pandemic, but you ladies were doing this prior. And so even with what was going on in your life, the journeys and everything that has happened and transpired, how you end up here. And you are absolutely beautiful. But as you said I love butterflies, by the way. If I had my business is called Changing Phases, and that was my emblem, a butterfly. So I'm clearly like, yes, man, I told you we was connected anyway. But with those stories being told that you each of you shared, what would you tell that 21-year-old you? What advice would you give right now? Because as I was saying, you are beautiful. Each of you are beautiful women, and you have beautiful stories. And if we see you right now, looking at you, you don't look like what you said. You don't look like that. And not that, each of you said you had a bad story, but there's stories behind this glory. So what would you share with the 21-year-old you today? Because some people actually are listening and they need advisement, even if they're not watching right now. Some way down the line, this live is gonna meet them, and it's gonna meet them at such a perfect time. So what would you share with the 21-year-old you related to your journey and how to persevere? Yana, I'm gonna start with you this time.
I guess what I would say is hold on, buckle your seatbelt. For much is given, much is required. So when God desires to do something great in your life, it often comes through great adversity. It comes through great pain. It comes through great suffering, because oftentimes those are the things that bring us to him. Those are the things that we can't carry on our own. The thing that we struggle with. During the COVID and the pandemic, that was a major transition to me. I moved out here married, and I went through a divorce during the transition, during COVID, and then having to put my life back together, being in a place that I never really wanted to be at, but yet this is the place that God chose me to be at. I had to go to God and cry and say, what in the world is going on? Why did you call me to come here? All that stuff. But as I look back at my 21-year-old, my rebellious years, my drunk years, my high years, all the years I spent partying and doing all of those things, it was worth it. You know, I don't take anything back. And there was something to learn in each of those things. So what I would tell someone that's going through, or even what I would tell my 21-year-old self is, hold on. It's going to get rocky. You're going to cry sometimes. You're not going to understand some things. But if you continue to hold on to God and what he has spoken over your life, you're going to be okay.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Whew, listen, that's real. That's real. I'm just thinking about, you think about your own life and just like, I'm not gonna say everything was horrible, but good God Almighty, that's good. Tiana, I'm coming to you. So for you
can I interject real quick?
Somebody want to say something?
Your co-host.
Locker room. What you gotta say, Blair?
Before we move on to your next question, Tonette, can we hear about your journey?
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Hear a little journey and what things have been, for you, just a little bit.
He said I was the host, right?
Yes.
He did say that.
Yeah,
But the reason I say that is because you have a powerful story that people often get to hear.
Okay.
And so I would like to ask, as your co-host, for you to share a little bit of your story. And then after this, I'm going to fade to black.
T, I'll be back to you momentarily. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So my story is I was a teenage mom. I was a mom at the age of 16, 17 years old. And I was raised in Buffalo, New York. I was a church girl. And I was a church girl that did not realize until she turned 23 that God loved her. I was a little brown skinned girl, had short hair, just didn't have the confidence. Not that my parents did not display love, but it was the point of me not understanding and believing that I was loved. So I made some choices and decisions merely off of those things, not feeling loved. However, I always wanted to make sure I was able to have things on my own. I was always working. I was always doing something. I've been doing hair since I was 14, 15 years old in my mother's kitchen, and which ultimately became my career of 30 plus years. Just retiring in October of 2020. And, just going through the differences of life, hearing the call of God at an early age, but ran ran because once again, not believing that God loved me. So why would you really be calling me? And are you calling me? Like, for real? I know you don't like me. And that's what I thought. And so in hindsight, I had my first daughter, like I said, at 15, 16, 17 years old, teenager. Then I had my second baby at 23 years old, being in a domestic abusive relationship, staying in there for longer than I should have. But while not knowing the love of God for me, I also knew I was asking him to get me out of this. I knew him well enough to say, listen, I've been in here. You guys to do something, or either I'm gonna go to jail or I'm gonna be in hell. So, but always being that fighter, always wanted to make sure that I wanted to survive. I wanted to live, but there's those obstacles. But how God, even at 23, when I understood the love of God, is when everything changed, and my relationship with Christ grew even closer. Not that I was perfect, but started business and had my first salon and second salon, and how God sustained it. But through it all, I always look back at those young people and young girls that was like represent me even now, to see these young girls young ladies that did not believe that they was loved. Like I said, I had both of my parents in a home. My parents was church saved people. It wasn't that they didn't love me. I just didn't, when you don't think positive about yourself, you could care less about what somebody say. So it's so important for us to really continue to encourage people, encourage ourselves, encourage, our children. I listen, when I was going to Tiana, and what I was going to ask her, because I love makeup, and I started out doing makeup and doing for other people and doing makeup for myself, and then my daughter came and stole my she stole my gift. She stole it and she ran with it. But I love that makeup thing, the makeup, because for me it covered up a lot. It really covered. I was surface clean, I was surface pretty, but down inside I was feeling some kind of way. I didn't feel as good as I looked, so to speak. So, thanks be to God that going through life and really understanding and learning and loving and who he is and knowing and receiving his love for real, like receiving his love, just totally, like, it was such a transformation. That's where the butterfly comes in.
Yes.
That's where that thing really comes in, that transformation power of God. Really just how it overtakes you and really assures you in who you are and whose you are. And then even in that, you can share it with others, and you can see, and I don't know if anybody have even, any of you have ever paid attention or can attest to this, that I'm the first one that can see when somebody else is really not feeling good about themselves. I don't care how beat you are, how cute and fly you are. I'm like, yeah. It's and me being the one that wanted, I should have been a nurse, trying to help them, trying to fix it, really trying to, pull them out of those places that even sometimes I fall into again, but thanks be to God that, I have people like you all, I have people, and even God, I can cry out to God and ask for help. So I'm about to shift this question to you, Tiana, being in the cosmetic industry, you're a Jane of all trades. This woman don't make no sense. All them gifts, it don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. All that stuff she has that God has given her, but how even in this industry, for that 21-year-old woman or person, let's forget women, but we this makeup and cosmetic industry is a $1 trillion industry, but it's so focused on the outer appearance that is so much of the inner that is not being tapped into. So what would you share with that 21-year-old person that, listen, we can get beat up and get our lashes and get it done, girl, we can get it done, but the inside is what really matters. So what is it that you would tell, and I'm going to it's for any age, but I'm going to the 21-year-old Tiana. What would you share with someone about your journey and how to persevere through it, through conflicts, through chaos, through drug addiction, through all? What would you say to that 21-year-old man, woman, what you should do? I get the makeup, I could sell it to you all day, but I want you, that inner person, that cocoon, that butterfly that's in there. How can I get that to grow? How can I go through that dark, that cocoon experience is dark. So how can you, what would you say to that 21-year-old person that's going through, I'm gonna say just going through life, going through that cocoon experience?
So the beauty about what I do is it's still ministry. What I do, I don't just deal with the outer, because that's, we become great at camouflaging. So now our stories are so similar. My parents have been in ministry ever since I can remember. So I'm a church baby. I dealt with self-esteem issues growing up. So, I don't care what people said, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter what you think or how you thought I looked on the outside. It was about how I felt, on the inside. So the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing now is shocking to me, because I lack the confidence to do that. And so even still now, like, I have the women's group, Girl Talk, and, we've been dealing a lot with self-sabotage, which is something like I can teach the workshops because it's something that I deal with on a regular basis, because I'm over analytical. I've always been, my mother would say, we're going to the store. don't ask for anything because I don't have any money, right? And I'm in my mind, I know that it takes money to buy stuff. So if you don't have any money, why are we going to the store? So my mother thought I was being fresh. I wasn't being fresh. I just was trying to understand. So I've always been, you know, analytical, and I need to know how things work. But faith is not natural. It doesn't use our natural mind. And so I would tell my 21-year-old self, trust your dopeness. It's still something that, you know, I deal with. I just had this meeting with TBN to pitch my book, right? And immediately my mind says, those people don't need you, girl. They got Joyce Meyer, they have TD Jakes, they have Joel Osteen. They don't care about your little raggedy book. So I was about to tell the lady I wasn't coming. So in my mind immediately goes to the worst case scenario. And I said, you know what? You woke up this morning, you didn't have a book deal. And so if they tell you no, then you can self-publish, which is what you were going to do in the first place. So I took the meeting and I pitched the book, and guess what? They loved it and they sent me a contract. So I would tell my 21-year-old self, be confident in who God created you to be, and not just my 21-year-old self. Anybody's 21-year-old, no matter how old, however old you are, today years old, you know, trust who God created you to be. Right. No matter what our stories are, no matter what our journeys are, it doesn't matter. We are all still here for a purpose. And so every day that we open our eyes means that we have not yet fulfilled our purpose. If you would have told me back then, I was a teenage mother, and church folks, y'all are real judgmental. I wasn't, you know, out here in the street thotting and throwing it in a circle to any boy who that was not my thing. But my truth is, if I didn't have my children then, I would not have children now because I had stage 4 cervical cancer. So I learned that all of the things that I have gone through in my life, being molested by a family member, all of those things helped shape me into the woman that I am. And so when you shop with the Sherelle Shop, let me show you, because I happen to have an order right here. I do a hand, I'm not going to show you what it says on the back. But I always ask with every order, I do a handwritten thank you card. And I always ask God to give me what to say to the person on the other end. And so I don't know some of the people that shop with me, I don't know them from a can of paint, but God gives me a message to write to them. And they always respond back and tell me that they keep these cards because in those moments when they are not feeling so secure and they're not feeling loved and they don't feel like their life matters, they go back and they read those cards. It's not about me, but it's about, you know, the person on the other end. We could be, I was good at masking and hiding. You know, I was great at it. I was great at camouflaging the fact that I was insecure about my body. I was insecure about my looks. I was able to, you know, look like I had it all together, and I didn't. On the inside, I was falling apart. On the inside, I was mean. I was nasty. I was hateful because I had been hurt so much that it was a defense mechanism. And so if I'm rude and I'm nasty to you, that's going to deter you from wanting to get to know me. So if I hurt you before you get an opportunity to hurt me, I win.
Gotcha.
So I know what that feels like. So the cosmetics is only a Band-Aid. So my job as the owner and the founder of the Sherelle Shop is, listen, baby, we could paint it all day. We could do lashes and we could do lips all day. But on the inside of you, I know that there's a scared little girl that has never gotten over the trauma, or you're unsure about some things, and God wants you to know that you are loved and you have purpose. So, you know, it's not just about the products, because, you know, anybody, you scroll through IG, there's 55,000 companies that do the same thing that I do, but it's ministry. And I'm praying over the products before I ship them to you, because I believe when you put on that lipstick, whatever it is that you need it, if you need a healing in your body or in your mind, as soon as you put it on, you're going to receive what you need. So it's still ministry. So to the 21-year-old me, I would say, trust your dopeness and trust who God created you to be. You might be different than someone else. Different doesn't mean better. It just means that we are different. We aren't the same. So trust who you are and embrace who you are. Embrace who God created you to be. Listen, I'm not the same, you know, I'm not the same size I was. I got a few more gray hairs now, mid my 40s, you know? But I've learned some things along the way, and I would not, you know, life has not been easy. Life is not easy for me now, but I would not trade any of it for the world, because it has helped shape me into the woman that I am now and into my future self and who I'm becoming. So trust who you are, trust who God created you to be. You might be different. Let people talk about you. They could talk about you all they want. You just be confident in who God created you to be. Show them. My mother always says, I could show you better than I can tell you. So show them better than you can tell them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Can I just jump? Oh, go ahead.
That's so awesome. You had something to say?
I just wanted to say, like, that is amazing, Tiana. Like, when you said to trust your dopeness, because if God gave that to you, he knows exactly how many other people have the same idea, but he gave it to you.
Right.
For the people that he's assigned to your hands, the people that's going to read your book, that need to hear your story. They're not going to, some of them they won't even know who Joyce Meyer is, you know, but God will allow them to know who you are because he's assigned them to you. So I love that. I think that is awesome. I think your mission is awesome. You know, it's just, it's wow, it's awesome.
That's some good nuggets. We recording this, right? This go okay. I'm definitely coming back. I'm coming back to watch. So the same question for CC. I'm asking, you know, and I'm being a little more intimate because and not giving out so much information, but where we come from. To see CC, like, we ain't come from crap now. I'm not saying that, but to see my cousin, my sister is like, what's it, Fortune 500? Like, I'm so like proud of this girl. It's so crazy. Like, I'm like, and look, I'm like, and she cute, and she ain't just beauty, but she's brains and she's intelligent. So for the 21-year-old that believes that, I saw let me go here. I saw a clip from Pastor, I think his name was Pastor Keon Henderson, I believe it's, and he was talking about, you know, showing up, and I'm not talking about anybody, I'm just saying what was said. He said, you showing up, and he said, you need, it was something with your health, you need dental work, you need this, but you showing up and you got your Louis Vuitton and you got your you know, your Mercedes, but you don't have no health care and you don't have nothing in your savings account. And so for the 21-year-old, I know, you know, we know to show up and you got to look your best, but then you going home and all you got is a bag of rice. You don't have things in place. So what would you say to the confidence of the 21-year-old? Because it takes also the confidence and a mind change and being able to change your thinking so you can learn how to know what financial literacy. First of all, people don't even know what it is.
Right.
You know, so what would you tell that 21-year-old person how to persevere and to learn financial literacy, how to better themselves, how to create inheritances and leave the inheritances, and, you know, even how about just have a bank account, like, for real. So what would you share with that 21-year-old, and I'm gonna say lady, I'm gonna say, what would you share? I get it, men, but it's women's, we taking over, so we speaking to the women. So what would you share with that 21-year-old woman, how to move forward?
Well, the way that you kind of tied that all together is actually so perfect, because I had to have a mind shift, because by that age I had left Buffalo, I had stepped out on faith, and I had moved here. And of course, Tonette knows this, but this is the foundation. This is where our family is from, just north of here in Rome, Georgia, Coosa County, a little country town. So I knew that I always wanted more. But because of sharing that with people and people not understanding that, I started to suppress it because I was too different. You know, so all of those labels, kind of the negative connotations were what came into my mind. You think you're too good, or you're stuck up, or why do you think you should be able to do that? And in spite of hearing those things, I still stepped out on faith and made that transition to come down here. And my first job was actually for the police department. It was the first job I could get as a 911 dispatcher, which was so not me, because I am not just the toughest, not physically anyway. But then when I found myself moving into the arena of the financial field because of my history with school, and I jumped in there, and what I started to do was, there was a lady, I will never forget this lady. Her name was Marilyn Jackson, I believe. And she was like the lady that was on the news. I don't know if you all are from Buffalo, but that lady that was on the news that was brown skinned, and she was so pretty, and she had the beautiful cheekbones. I can't remember.
Jean, was it Jean?
That's her. I remember meeting her in, I think it was the Galleria Mall before I moved down here. And she spoke into me because I really wanted to go into communications again, from loving to talk. She spoke into me, and that gave me the courage that I needed to make this move. So when I came down here and I found myself in the financial field, I found another Jean Hill in the banking industry. And her name was Marilyn Jackson. And she too was brown skinned, because that was my issue. All of my friends that were light skinned were the pretty girls, and I was always the little sister. And I was so tired of being a little sister because I wanted a boyfriend. And so there was a lady that I modeled myself after, because guess what? She was the vice president, and she was so polished and put together and articulate. And I was like, that's what I want. And so I began to kind of copy and emulate until I could learn, to add a little bit of that, but on top of what God had already created and put into me. So the knowledge that I was able to gain in that time frame of that young 21-year-old was exactly what I needed, because what I did not know was that before the age of 27, I was going to have buried my sister, my mom, my dad, my aunt and uncle who raised me, like all of those people that were the heart and the soul of who I was. I'd lost them by that age. So I did not have a safety net. If something fell apart, not even to call for financial reasons, but I couldn't even go and be like, can I just crash again? Can I come back home? So to the 20-year-olds or the 21-year-olds or anyone that's working, whatever it is that God put in you is not too much. You're not dreaming too big. I remember when that movie Boys in the Hood came out, and Angela Bassett, I think, was Trey's mom, and she was in the really sophisticated apartment and sitting there, and it was like all white and candles or something like that. But I was like, I want that life. I know that I want that. And so I'm going to do whatever it is that I have to do and sacrifice however I have to sacrifice, because that's the way I want to live. And y'all, I lived off of pancakes for like 2 years. I couldn't afford anything, and pancakes will stretch, let me tell you. I eat pancakes to this day. I'm just starting to get back into waffles, but I ate them for so long. I don't want no pancakes. Give me some toast. I want pancakes. So I would say, whatever it is, when people are speaking into you in a negative way, that's their fear. You have to reject that. You have to turn that off, tap back into what you feel here, and then go for it. If it's something super high, go for it. If it's not, that's okay too. The thing is being true to yourself, not letting people speak their negativity into your thing. Because one thing that I tell folks all the time, and Tony kind of spoke to it a little bit, through God, I manifested where I am today because of my faith, and because of speaking it and trying to be very intentional in the words that I use. I'm big on speaking life. If you're going to speak death into me, I don't want you in my life. I'm not interested. Go away. You're not my friend. You don't love me. You don't love yourself. So how can you love me? So be intentional. Don't let people limit you. If God gave that thought, that wish, that desire to you, guess what? That means that's because it's for you. That means it's attainable. Put that money to the side. Put that negativity to the side and go for whatever it is that you want to go for. And I am so encouraged listening to these ladies, and I'm getting some confirmation on some things. And Tony, you know the things I'm thinking about that have been put into me that I've been putting to the side over and over again. And I'm so thankful and grateful that God laid it on Tony and Blair's heart to bring this group of women together, because there are so many people. It's not just little girls, but there are just so many people that need to understand, like, if you fall, you get back up. If it doesn't go exactly the way you want it to go, you just continue. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I spoke to, my business venture did not sustain me the way I needed it to. So guess what I did? I went back to work. Ain't no shame in my game. I don't feel bad. I don't feel away. I don't feel crazy, because I'm still working towards the same goals, the same life that I envisioned for myself, and the same thing that God put in my spirit. So stay the course. Don't get discouraged. And when you do get discouraged, have a pity party. I'm a crybaby. I cry all the time, by myself, with my friends. If I got a man, with him, it does not matter. If at work, if I need to cry, I'm gonna release that because I got to get it out of me.
Yeah.
And then once it's out, I can get it back together. Okay, my head is clear. What do I have to do? It's time to buck up, put those big girl panties on, and get it done. So just stay focused, stay encouraged, push yourself. You got to pump your own self up. Get in the mirror, like that show, Being Mary Jane. If you got to put Post-it notes up to remind you of who you are, speak those affirmations to yourself, whatever it is, envision yourself there. Whatever you got to do it, you absolutely can. You just remove the negativity and the noise.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. You know, I'm just listening, and all of everything. Y'all got me choked up a little bit over here. Just listening to the stories and even the encouragement that each of you have given. It's, you know, it's for that person and those persons, and it is not gender based right now, but it's for whoever that's feeling that, you know, they're feeling out. And I just keep feeling this place of being stuck, that, you know, people are feeling like they're stuck. They don't feel that, you know, they don't have much value, or I'm too old to do this. And, you know, that grace is gone. It's been a deadline, but God keeps giving ideas and things for us to do. And for that person, you know, what I was stressed even by the testimonies that each of these ladies have shared, is to wiggle yourself out of there and think. It's a scripture, and I got to look it up. It said, think yourself happy, think yourself out of that place and out of these pit experiences, because God has so much more for us. And, you know, even with the climate of the world where we are, it seems like, and not just only saying, but I've even heard statements and even hear it in the spirit, how, you know, it's this thing called stuck, and it's nothing but the enemy's trying to play with our minds. Even when, you know, through life, Ayana's story, T's story, Tiana's story, Cece's story, my story, that even while we may have fallen and have fallen short and things didn't line up right away, stay the course is what they're all basically saying. Stay the course. It's going to work out in your favor. Just stay the course. And even, you know, we can't think like we thought when we were kids. When I was 16, it's a total mindset here at 49 years old. Totally different thought process. Things that may have worked then, you know what, we found out as time has gone on that things, I'm glad it didn't happen at that time, because if it would have happened, it would have fallen. But now how God has allowed us to get to our places, our current status, a present state, even knowing who he is, who back then, 16, 17, like I said, I didn't realize God's love. And I was in his church every single Sunday. I was in the house and did not realize that all this love that we were talking about, that they were talking about, I did not receive it for myself because I didn't believe it. And so, you know, with all that being said, you know, we having to learn how to receive, first of all, God's love, so he can start to change the trajectory of our lives. For those, whoever that is, that's feeling stuck, feeling like they don't have nothing else to do, I don't know how to get there, the resources are not there, whatever, God will show up he would show up so perfectly and on time. I'm sure each of them can say, Cece talked about she was eating pancakes. We don't understand the backstory behind what people have gone through, and we see how where they are in the current status. But if you was able to probably see, or they give you a glimpse of their life, a lot of us have went through hell and went through things that we did not believe that we would even see a day called today necessarily in the shape that we're in. I'm thankful to God, and a lot of people don't know my testimony. I lost most of my sight within the last 2 years. I was 2020, I had 2020 vision before the pandemic, correct? Right before the pandemic. And after the pandemic, in the midst, I am right now at 20% of sight. But the thing that's about it, I have days and it's ups and it's downs, it's valley experiences, I'm telling you. But even in this, I learned who God is in my valley. I learned who God is in this dark place, that even in here, he's still been with me. And the funny thing about it is, while it's dim and it's dark, he still keeps speaking things to me. And I was like, how do you expect me to do that? It's not how. It ain't my business. It's just make sure you get it done. I'm going to show you so how God will stretch himself to us to let the work be done through us and he be glorified. So all of these statements and all the testimonies that each of you have given, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm saying it for those. I don't even know if anybody else saying thank you, but I'm saying thank you. And for those that's going to watch this later, thank you for sharing your transparency with the world, because we have so many stories that's so garbage. And I'm just saying, like, I don't want to call nobody, but people puff up stuff and they'll lie. And you be like, how did you get that? Oh, I did this, and they be lying. And I'm listen, I am a straight shooter. Don't come lying to me when I'm in need of help. Don't come lying when I'm going through some process and you acting like, oh, well, just give it to the Lord. Well, you show me how you did it. Show me how you did it. Help me to walk this thing out. Yes. So we are witnesses, really. Of, I got my shirt on. It says shush, demonstrate, because we do too much, sometimes too much talking and not enough living, not enough showing really how we've gotten here. We tell, these stories, but I'm so grateful for the stories that you ladies have given tonight of truth, of how to overcome, how to persevere, how to have courage, how to have confidence, how to be entrepreneurs, how to be business owners, how to be work for corporations, how to run your life, how to steward. I mean, all these things came out of this conversation in just an hour. Thank you. I really appreciate, thank you, your transparency and your truth. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift this again. And so I want to give each of you a moment to share what it is that your business that you have in. You can put up your website, whatever you want to do, share about your business, because once again, I enjoy and I love the fact of community. And we have cultures of people that they'll keep their monies and they're within the confines of their community, up to 9 times before it actually leaves the community. So this is a part of our community. This is a part of the locker room community. So I want each of you, if you don't mind, you can share what you're doing or maybe what you're going to be doing. If you have a website, we can also share that on here. And we'll start with Ayana.
Tonette, really quick. Can I there's something that I keep hearing in my ear. There's someone's, I don't know exactly who needs to hear this, but I know what I hear in my ear. You're feeling stuck. And the reason that you're feeling stuck is because you have not yet tapped into your purpose. You've been waiting for the people who have broken you down, the people that have tried to break you. You're waiting for validation from them. And you cannot expect validation from the people that tried to hurt you. Those are the people that tried to break you from the beginning and stop you from coming into your purpose. And so you feel frustrated because you feel like you're hitting your head against the glass ceiling. And God wants you to know tonight that if you would get out of your own way, you would get out of your own head, and you would stop overthinking and stop analyzing and stop trying to figure out how everything is going to work from A to Z. And if you would trust the plan that he's placed in your heart, and you would trust the confidence in the person that he has created you to be, you won't feel stuck. and you will find yourself surpassing and moving out of that place that you're currently in. You're frustrated because you keep trying to maintain the same network of people, and you keep trying to get the validation of the people that have broken you down. And so you're stuck because you're looking for them to validate you. They're not going to validate you because they are destiny killers. And so they want you to be stuck. Misery loves company. And so they want to keep you in that place. And so if you would move beyond that place, and some of you, it may require for you to transition and relocate and move into a different area. But God wants you to know that he hears you and he sees you, and what you're experiencing is not his fault. It's because you won't get out of your own way and move. So some of you that are feeling stuck right now, it's your fault that you're feeling stuck because you're looking for validation from the people that broke you in the first place, and you're not going to get validation from them. So you need to start practicing the mirror confession. I call it the mirror confessions. I think it was Cece that was talking about it earlier with the Post-its on the mirror. And my Tona to tell you, my Girl Talk ladies, I tell them, write your affirmations on your Post-its in the place that you frequent the most, whether it's the refrigerator, your nightstand, wherever it is, the mirror in the bathroom. Every time you pass by it, you need to read those affirmations out loud. You need to continue to read them until it comes alive in your spirit. And once it starts to come alive in your head, it starts to come alive in your heart, and it starts to come out of your mouth. You believe the things that are in your heart. So if you stop repeating, you know, people told me I would never be anything but a teenage mother. And for a long time, I believed it. And I felt like I didn't deserve anything better than less than what I was entitled to as a child of God. So if you stop listening to the things that have been spoken over you, the word curses that have been spoken, if you stop listening to those things and you start seeing yourself the way that God sees you, baby, let me tell you, your best days, your future days, your these days coming are going to be greater than the latter. But he wants you to get out of your own way and stop trusting the people that are around you that have been sent to sabotage you. They're dream killers. And so they don't want to see you tap into your full purpose and your full potential. So move yourself, remove yourself. Don't have to block them. You don't have to block them. He prepares the table before you in the presence of your enemy. So for all the shame and the embarrassment and the hurt that you have dealt with privately, God is going to reward you publicly. But you need to separate yourself or remove yourself from those people that, you know, have been designed to be a destiny killer. If you remove them from the equation, you won't feel stuck anymore. Sorry, I had to release that. So I needed to be obedient. So
No.
Now let me go on mute and mind my business.
No.
Don't do that.
No, listen, come on. Listen, we make sure we leave room for God to do whatever he want to do and say what he want to say. Yana, what you got? I know. Wait.
Unmute your mic.
Unmute your mic.
Okay, I just want to piggyback off of what Tiana was saying about saying affirmations and writing in places. I say this to everyone that's watching because this is really what we did in order to get to where we're at. It's not easy at all, but I just want to show you. So this is my mirror in my room. I have it written down. I have it written down, like literally. I had to say that. And it was in my brokenness state. It was in a state where I'm like, God, what is going on? What is happening? Why is this happening? But every day I wrote it down on my mirror and I would say it and confess it. So I just, in agreement with what Tiana said. And also, I just want to speak to the person who don't know how to get started. You know, so many people, they get an idea, they get something in their head and they expect all of the plans to be laid out. No. By faith, step by step, he takes us from glory to glory. When the Lord told me about publishing books, I knew nothing about publishing books. I knew nothing. I had no connections. I didn't know about anything. And he told me step by step. First step, get your business registered. I'm like, okay, I didn't even know how to get the business registered, but I went online and I Googled how to do that. And I did it step by step. And along the way, he sent people to me. I went out to a conference one time and was buying a book because I like to support people. I asked the person just out of I said, what does this mean? It was the name of her company. And she says, I publish books. And I told her, oh, I want to, I believe God was helping. And from that point when she told me, come down, and I'm going to show you what you need to do. She showed me. He sent me editors. He sent me people. I mean, he sent me graphic designers, different people. I would just do stuff and then it would be a connection. So I say he will make provision for the vision.
Woo.
We don't have to try to figure it out, to figure out how this is going to work, what's going to happen, all of that. No, step by step of faith, and God will see you through. And with that being said, I can put it in chat what my publishing company is.
Okay.
Website, I'll put that in the chat. And I just want to encourage people to just trust God. If he put it within you, he is going to do everything that needs to be to get it out of you. We just have to cooperate with him. We just have to do what he says by faith, and we will see. And people can also reach me on Facebook under the name Ayana Lene, which is on the flyer.
Okay. Thank you. Come on. Awesome. To Kiana, put your information also up there as well. CC, ball is in your court.
Well, I'm not going to put my corporation's information out because I'm not speaking on their behalf.
Right.
But if
right.
anybody that, you know, needs any information, you need some guidance, you know, some ideas on how to kind of spin things, reach out to me. There will be things that'll be coming, you know, and I'll go ahead and put that out there because, like I said, I'm getting my confirmation as we're speaking. And when that time comes, I'll put that stuff out. But at the end of the day, you know, again, my biggest thing is because this is a natural gift for me, I absolutely want to be a resource. And any questions, strategies, anything like that, you know, reach out to me, shoot me a DM, as they love to say. And I'll absolutely respond back to you as soon as time permits, because it is very important to me. One thing that my mom taught me, and she taught by example and she taught by verbalizing it, is every generation is supposed to increase. Every generation should be stronger than the one prior. And so the way that we should do that to help give our kids a boost or a leg up or a start is we make sure that we leave something, we leave a legacy. Legacy can be financial. It can be the education that you give to them. It can be so many different things. However, for me, I do know how my mom preparing in the manner in which she did set us up so that we could take it and build upon what she left for us. And that can be a multitude of different things. It could be just making sure that there's a burial policy.
Yeah.
It could be making sure you're not leaving debt where these creditors are going to be coming after your family to where they're trying to grieve, but now they've got these calls coming in. It can absolutely be in abundance to where everything is taken care of, but then there's still something else for your children and your grandchildren to build upon. It can be the fact that the education was never there. The conversation was never there. There are other people that sit around the dinner table. They sit around at the picnics and the parties, and they're not playing spades. They're talking strategies. They're talking the stock market. They're talking what their 401k is doing, or that 503b, whatever it is that they have their money that they're putting it into, those investment vehicles, or even if we're just talking baseline stuff of how to make sure you're not getting overdraft fees in your checking account, or the fact that you need to move from that payroll debit card to a checking account because you want to be able to put hands on the people that are holding your money versus trying to just be on the phone or sending messages. You know, it's legacy can come in so many different forms. So I want people to know that I'm here to talk strategy. It does not matter how big or how small. I've worked with it all, and I'm here for you. And again, there'll be other things that'll be coming from me a little bit later, and I know who to get to when I'm ready to step out and make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you for each of you, all the information and your stories that you shared. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of that. Thank you for saying yes to our invitation. Thank you for sharing this. And I just know and I believe everything that has been said, it did not go to fallow ground. I know it did not. And it's going to accomplish everything that it was set for. And for whoever, y'all bless me. And y'all just don't know how much you really have. And with that being said, for everyone there, Tiana and Ayana put their information in the chat. So please support the Tiana Salon, Tiana Shop, the Terrell Shop. What is it? Tell me what it is.
The Sherelle Shop. Yes.
To change your name. The Sherelle Shop. Yeah, please.
And then Life with Tiana Coaching Services. We should be officially launching on Friday. I have to fix a couple things on the site. But life coach, you know, like I said, I've been doing life coaching for a long time, and I've like finally made it, you know, a career choice and made it legal. So, you know, the guys, they were mad at me about Girl Talk. I heard you. So you can schedule your sessions with me for Life with Tiana. And then we're going to be expanding and bringing on some other people. I won't, you know, tell who they are right now, but we'll be bringing on some other coaches as well. So, you know, for your inspirational merch and to book your life coaching, the website name is going to be changing. TianaSherrellSings.com will still work, but it's going to be changed over on Friday. So you can reach me there, thesherellshop.com for all of your cosmetics and skincare needs. You can reach me there. So follow me on social media. I'm around. Miss Sherelle is the handle pretty much for everything. Life with Tiana Coaching, IG, Facebook. So I'm around. I'm here to help. You know, I'm everybody's cheerleader. I'm everybody's auntie. So I'm, you know, Coach T is here to be your personal cheerleader. That's kind of what I do. I don't need to know you to want you to win, but I want to see you, you know, pursue your purpose. I'm here to push you from A to Z and help you understand that you don't have to do it in one big step, but it's a series of small steps that to get you to the finish line. So I'm here on the other side of the finish line cheering for you.
And I also want to share that I'm a part of what is it called? The Chat and Chew? What is it?
Girl Talk. The virtual chat. So yeah.
So anybody that wants to be a part, I'm telling you, it was so good. And I'm talking about, you know, that good. It was so good, and it really it was just a good setting with wonderful women. So I encourage you also to, you know, check out her Girl Talk. It's phenomenal. Ayana is listen, and she don't know this, but when I say this woman can teach that Bible and make it so relevant that you just be like, oh, like I didn't even see that. But she's such a phenomenal teacher and minister. Like it don't make sense. But you know that when you want some good word, I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out here. A woman that you can see the humility and just the sweetness of God that's in her. She's so sweet. And listen, I just know her from church. But when I say the word,
ain't nobody but God, because honey, I used to be a mess.
But thank God that you're not no more. I'm telling you, I don't know if you realize the impact. I've shared, you know, I've shared Joe speaking to my girlfriends in Texas. Like Sunday, I was like, listen, we didn't know really what Lent was. I know, I'm sorry, y'all. Didn't know really what, like, okay, you're not putting no ashes on my forehead. I come from apostolic. I don't know about that. But didn't understand it because I was ignorant to it. But she explained it in so much depth and like clarity. I was like, oh, put them on my forehead. Put it on me. You know, but I was so grateful that we need that. We need real, like we need the word of God for real. I don't know how anybody can go and do it without, but we need that. So, you know, not only is she an author, she's a woman of God. And she, you know, like she gave her bio earlier, but even for your website, put your website, talk to her. I know there are people, listen, let me tell you something. I know, and I'm saying from the pandemic, there's been stories that needs to be told. I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't care what nobody think. I know there's stories and books that has been written. Y'all have them in your journal. Y'all got them on your notepads like me. Hey, you have these. And if you need a publisher, somebody that can help you, like she said, sometimes, you know, you may not know what to do in the beginning. Won't you reach out to her? If you need that, don't try to do it on your own, because I'm going to be calling. And I referred somebody to you. I wasn't even aware it was you, but I referred somebody to you, a couple of weeks ago. But I'm just saying, support. We're gonna keep it in the community, y'all. Let's keep it here. Let's be a blessing to one another. You know, we will want you. You will want the same, support to come to you. The same with CC. We need to understand financial literacy. And listen, we're gonna set up something.
I'm already about to inbox it right now.
Right.
Listen,
we need it. We about to set up something. I got notes here. I got notes. We about to set up.
We're gonna have to book CC for the next virtual chill and chat.
Let's do it.
So with that being said, everybody, thank you again. Thank you to this husband of mine that allowed me to host his room. Thank you so much for trusting me not to tear up your locker room. Not to put flowers in the locker room. Thank you.
So yeah, so again, my wife has said thank you. So I echo those same thanks to you ladies for all coming on and sharing your story and lending your wisdom and understanding to everyone who's been watching tonight, and folks have been commenting and liking and loving as you guys have been talking. So I know that people have truly been blessed by this. And so to everyone who was watching on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you were watching at, I just want to say thank you for tuning in again for another Monday. A lot of you guys are tuned. You hang with me every month on the last Monday. Facebook, YouTube, you guys hang with me every month, and so I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart that you tune in and you get what you need. And I get the feedback and I get inboxes and texts about how you're helped and blessed by the content that we produce. So I thank you for chiming in and being with us. And again, make sure that you solicit these ladies. Make sure you reach out, get their services, shop at the Sherelle shop, get your finances together with CC, and with your books you got to publish, reach out to Ayana to get help with that. All right. And make sure you pay for the service you get. Yeah. Okay. You gotta stop looking for hookups and stop trying to get homegirl. Pay these people. If you gonna pay Clairol and who these other people, you pay them what they charge for their stuff. So make sure, treat these ladies the same way. Yes. Pay them for their services that they're going to render to you. I don't know what the name of the makeup is. They know, y'all know what the name is.
All the way back.
Okay, just stop. Go ahead.
All right. So make sure that you not only support them and listen them, but pay them what they're charging you, because they're going to work for you.
Yes.
They're going to work for you to help to get what you need. And so with that, we're going to close out for tonight. We thank you again. We will be back in the month of May with some more powerful content. So please, stay tuned to social media, as you'll see the flyers come out and you'll see what we'll be talking about and what we'll be doing. But we're going to end it for tonight. And so I just pray that everyone have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week this week. And we'll see you next month on the Locker Room. Ladies, don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to end it on Facebook and YouTube. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you next month.